Zwom. Doot, 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 doot. BMO.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another BMO Creative crypto video. So this one kind of explains why I think Sasquatch people are real, and it's about the Minnesota Iceman. Before seeing the Patterson-Gimlin video of Patty walking down that creek bed as a kid, I saw the Minnesota Iceman, for real, in a restored tractor display at a livestock exhibition. It was called the Cyberskoye creature back then. The Minnesota Iceman was displayed at shopping malls, state fairs, carnivals in the United States as well as Canada in the 1960s and 70s. At that time, it was not a hoax, but a real dead being encased in ice. It was male, human-looking, about 6 feet tall, hairy, with large hands and feet, and a flattened nose. One of the arms was broken, and one eye had been knocked out of its socket by a bullet that had hit it in the back of the head. There were telltale signs that I still remember to this day, like blood that had seeped from the wounds and its eye socket and pooled at the surface of the ice. Also, bubbles in the ice that had some blood in them that was coming from the broken arm bones. His mouth and the one eye that was not shot out were closed. A few months later, it was being exhibited again after returning from a show in Canada, and the Minnesota Iceman was then a hoax depicting a humanoid creature frozen in a block of ice. No blood, no bubbles clinging to the hair, mouth open to show fake teeth, no eyes hanging out, totally clean and clear block of ice. Not the same thing I saw before. So, the story starts with a guy named Frank Hansen. This guy made up lots of stories as to where he got the exhibit. The most famous was that he shot it while hunting in the Minnesota woods, killed it, and started displaying it in the 1968 time range. Actually, it came from Vietnam, as Hansen was stationed there, killed one of the rock apes, as they were called, and smuggled it back to the United States as a soldier's body. It was toured at state fairs and carnivals in and around Rolling Stone, Minnesota, and Milwaukee as a missing link. It was when he started branching out that it was reported officially, and he got the wrong eyes on it. Two trained scientists, Ivan Sanderson and Dr. Bernard Heuvelmans, examined the Iceman and concluded that it was genuine, it was real, noting the putrefaction where some of the flesh had been exposed from the melted ice. Heuvelman wrote a scientific paper that you can still find today and named it a new species with Neanderthal affinities. He called it the Homo pongoides, and wrote how it was shot and killed in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. Sanderson wrote an article for Argosy magazine and spoke about it on television. The Smithsonian got interested and hired a guy named John Napier to investigate, who then suggested that the FBI investigate due to the reports that it looks human and it was killed by being shot in the back of the head and had his eye knocked out, one of its eyes. While touring with the Iceman, Hansen was reportedly detained by Canadian custom officials who were concerned he was transporting a cadaver or a possible health risk. Hansen reportedly contacted his senator, Walter Mondale, who was able to quote-unquote pull the right strings to let the Iceman come back home. This is when I believe the switch took place. Canadian government, US government, and of course the Smithsonian took his genuine specimen and let him come back to the US as a free man with a fake exhibit. Shortly thereafter, the Iceman disappeared, withdrawn from public display, because many people saw the first one, the original, and complained when they saw the fake one that it was not the same one. It's obviously fake now. Hansen reportedly claimed that he had a real frozen creature and a replica, but that he only exhibited the replica due to the original's value and fragility, while the real one has to stay with the California-based owner, quote-unquote. He refused to give the name. I think it was the Smithsonian. What's even stranger is that in a 1995 interview, Hansen reported that he never did find out whether or not the Iceman was genuine. He never did find out whether the Iceman was genuine? That's what he said. Pretending that the two scientists that examined it never happened, even though they wrote scientific papers about it, articles, they were on TV about it, on radio about it. He pretended that none of that happened, so they must have really scared him. And what's even crazier is in 2008, Vern Langdon, who's a special effects guy, but he was also like a wrestler. He did all kinds of stuff. That guy was all over the place. He appeared on a show called The Bigfoot Show podcast in 2008 and said the Iceman was a hoax created by a Hollywood model maker. But he wouldn't say who the model maker was, what studio it was made in, or anything. He just said that's that, and that it was done that way, and that's all he said. It should also be noted that for years, he said, before the creation of the Minnesota Iceman, Frank Hansen approached Universal Studios. How he has the ability to quote-unquote approach Universal Studios is beyond me, but he did this in the failed attempt to get them to make him a crashed flying saucer and aliens. So I think that was a joke he was making. I don't know, because it doesn't make sense to me how Hansen would have gotten these connections in Hollywood, or why they would bother making a dead Neanderthal for a Vietnam vet that restores and displays farming equipment at livestock shows and county fairs. Anyways, the fake Iceman was sold on eBay in 2013 and is now on display in the Museum of the Weird in Austin, Texas. So what do you think about the story of the Minnesota Iceman? Leave a comment below. So that is going to do it for this one. Thanks so much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe to BMO Creative for more crypto videos. Thanks. Bye.